Welcome back. I am Collins Trott, Child Development Faculty on the Wallace Community College Dothan campus. In this episode, we are going to be learning about the Art Center. This episode describes the importance of an art center. We will also discuss how a well-set-up art center can promote a child's development in many domains, including social, emotional, cognitive, language, and creativity. So join me, Miss Trott, as we learn all about the Art Center. Young children seem to have a natural affinity for art, just as they do for speaking and writing, if their environment is full of interesting opportunities. Art, like language, is a means of communication and self-expression for children. It is visual, though rather than verbal, involves the elements of line, shape, color, and texture rather than words. Because young children have an inborn drive to communicate, they continually work at the development of this ability in every possible aspect. They coo, cry, babble, and finally speak. They scribble horizontally, play with letters, and finally write. In art, they scribble, make shapes, combine shapes, and finally draw pictures. They experiment with color and play around with textures. If given a wide variety of materials, as well as the freedom and time to discover how these work, young children can teach themselves the art skills they need in order to express themselves. This communication comes from deep within the children, revealing their uniqueness as few other classroom activities can. Art has a role in education by helping children become more themselves instead of more like everyone else. Each child's inner existence calls for expression and takes pleasure in such expression. The arts can be the medium for this expression if children have access to many materials, the time to explore them, and respectful encouragement of their exploration. To children, it is the process of making art and manipulating the medium that is the most important to them, not the product. The Art Center should also be the place where beauty and aesthetics begin. An early childhood classroom should be both pleasing to look at and beautiful to be in. We know that children appreciate bright colors and airy spaces. We realize that the adult staff also find pleasure in beautiful surroundings. Let us then make our classrooms beautiful places to live and work in, beginning with the Art Center and spreading into the entire classroom environment. To help children advance on their own through the levels of manipulation, mastery, and meaning, you can set up the Art Center of the classroom so that children can choose and use it easily. Have at least one, preferably two easels available at all times. Easels are among the most inviting and usable devices for stimulating children's independent involvement with art. Paints and brushes can be ready and waiting for children whenever they choose to paint. For other kinds of art, the paints available for children should be on low shelves near the tables where they can be used, along with brushes of various sizes, paint mixing jars, and sponges. Trays of white paint paper, colored construction paper, and glazed butcher paper for finger painting can be located on the same shelves easily available for the children. The materials in the Art Center should be those available for free use by the children. It is not necessary to pit out at the same time all of the art materials owned by the program. Instead, add new materials from time to time and retire the materials no longer used regularly. Access to water is important for art activities. Locate the area near a sink if possible, or arrange for pans of clean water and rinse water to be stored on a low stand for easy use by children. Art activities can be integrated into the entire curriculum if materials from your other learning centers are included in this area. For instance, picture books with colorful illustrations are especially attractive lead-ins to art activities and should be available to children in both the Art Center and the Book Center. Although the preschool teacher's primary role in the appropriate practices curriculum may not be the traditional one of sitting at an art table with the children, directing them how to cut out orange pumpkins or red hearts, the teacher is nevertheless responsible for what goes on in the Art Center. They need to set it up in the first place with appropriate materials for the children's easy selection and return. Then they need to observe individual children to determine at what level they are interacting with the materials in order to support their further development. Just as with Writing Center activities, children may pursue different types of activities in the Art Center at different levels of interaction. The teacher needs to be aware of the kinds of activities that can occur in the art at the manipulation, mastery, and meaning levels. Once the teacher has identified the level of interaction for the different children in the Art Center, they can use the information as an assessment to promote the continued progress of the children. Teachers' records will show not only the level of the child's interaction with materials, but also their favorite kinds of materials. Those who prefer to draw can continue drawing with crayon, marker, pencils, chalk, and paintbrush, as such materials are added to the center. Molders can be encouraged to transfer their skills from Play-Doh to clay as the year progresses. Art in the early childhood classroom can thus be an activity of great satisfaction for both children and teachers. If you are successful in your center setup, children can become deeply involved in activities that are highly meaningful to them personally. Art can become a wonderful means of communication and self-expression for them, and a great promoter of a positive self-image. For you, your observation of children at work in the process of art exploration and discovery can be just as meaningful. Young children have much to teach us if we are open enough to learn from them. Their fresh, new ideas, their inquisitiveness and experimentation, and their original uses of materials can give us new insights into the creative process and our role in supporting it. Now, let's review what we've learned. Art, like language, is a means of communication and self-expression for children. Art has a role in education by helping children become more themselves instead of more like everyone else. Art activities can impact children's development in all areas of domain. In setting up the Art Center, teachers need to give children a wide variety of materials and freedom to use them, and have at least one easel available at all times. The teacher's role is to set it up in the first place with appropriate materials for children's easy selection and return. Then they need to observe individual children to determine at what level they are interacting with materials in order to support their further development. That wraps us up for this episode. You can learn more about this topic by reviewing the resources posted in your course. As always, if you have any questions, please contact me or your instructor. Thanks for joining me, Miss Trott, as we learn all about the Art Center. See you next time.